They sold my soul piece by piece, called it love, called it family. But when they thanked another man for my sacrifice, I stood up, smiled, and told them whose blood really paid for their happiness. At the wedding, everyone stood and clapped as her father raised his glass. He smiled like a man who just won something, said it loud enough for everyone to hear. Thanks to my new son-in-law's wealth, this beautiful day was made possible. Everyone turned toward him. The man in the tailored suit, hair slicked, teeth white, hands soft. I was just in the back row. I don't wear suits anymore. I stood. My heart wasn't racing. My hands didn't shake. I looked at her, my wife. She looked away, and I said quietly, "Actually, my car's paid for this." Then I sat back down. Nobody clapped after that. I didn't say it to embarrass anyone, but I guess the truth has a way of doing that when it's been buried for too long. They were more than cars. They were memories with metal frames and engines that coughed to life like old dogs waking up. I spent 2 decades restoring them, one by one, after work, on weekends. Each one had a story. The '67 Mustang I pulled from a barn in Abbott. The Camaro that took me 3 years to find the original trim for. The Thunderbird I rebuilt with my father before he passed. Every car was a chapter in my life. I was careful with them because nobody had ever really been careful with me. When we married, she said she loved that I could bring dead things back to life. I thought she meant it. Things started small. Her sister got engaged, and suddenly every dinner conversation became about florists, venues, dresses. I stayed quiet. Weddings aren't cheap. I knew that. But when she came home that day, flung the papers on the table, and said, "You're going to have to sell some of your cars," I thought she was joking. She wasn't. Her voice cracked when she said, "Family comes first." And I nodded, not because I agreed, but because I didn't want to fight. So I sold them, one by one. The buyers were respectful, gentle, even like they knew what they were taking from me. I watched the Mustang get loaded onto a flatbed in the rain. I didn't go inside, just stood there and let it soak through my shirt. The Thunderbird was the last. I almost couldn't do it. I ran my hand along the hood and whispered, "Sorry, Dad." Then I signed the papers. I never told her how much that hurt. After that, I started sleeping in the garage. At first, just when I got home late from work. Then more often. The bed inside felt colder than the concrete floor. She stopped asking me to come back inside. I stopped pretending I would. She started going out more. With friends. With her sister. One time I asked if she wanted to go for a drive. Just us. She smiled like I'd said something sweet, but foolish. "You sold the cars, remember?" She laughed. I remembered. She started talking about her sister's fiancé like he was some kind of savior. How he was ambitious. Driven. How he had plans. I listened. I nodded. Sometimes I looked at my hands while she spoke and wondered when they stopped being enough. A month before the wedding, I found a spreadsheet in her inbox. Budget details. My name wasn't there. Just family contribution. A round number next to it. No acknowledgement. No thank you. Just a line item, like I was some faceless investor. I didn't say anything, but I started thinking. I contacted the buyers. Every one of them. Some had already sold the cars. A few hadn't even registered them yet. I offered to buy back whatever I could, not to keep, just to borrow, just for one day. I paid the price, even double in some cases. I parked them just off the wedding venue grounds. A neat row of memories, polished, pristine. Each one had a small handwritten note on the dashboard. For the wedding of a man I've never met. Because family comes first. The ceremony was beautiful. I won't lie. It was. But when her father stood up and thanked the wealth of a man who hadn't put a dime toward the day, I felt something crack open inside me. Not anger. Not pride. Just clarity. So I stood up and told the truth. Then I sat down and let the silence do the rest. After that, people avoided me like I'd spoiled something sacred. But a few came up. One woman, I don't even know who she was, placed her hand on my shoulder and just said, "I'm sorry." That was enough. She didn't speak to me at the reception. My wife, she stood with her sister and their new family. clinking glasses, laughing at things I couldn't hear. I left before the cake was cut. I didn't take the cars back home. I returned them as promised, but I kept the notes. She moved out 2 weeks later. Left a note on the kitchen table. You embarrass me. I can't forgive that. She never asked why I did it. The thing is, I didn't do it for revenge. I did it so I could live with myself. I did it so the next time someone thanked the wrong man, I wouldn't have to sit in silence and swallow my own name. Now the garage is empty, but it doesn't echo like I thought it would. There's peace in the quiet, in knowing I gave up everything, not to be noticed, but because I was asked. And when they pretended like it meant nothing, I reminded them, not loudly, not to cry, just enough to be heard. She told me once that silence was weakness. I think now she knows better.